August 15th Mid-Autumn Festival, the capital of the Great Summer Kingdom Chang'an City. The streets are bustling with people coming and going. Behind this prosperity also hides some unknown nastiness. Inside the prince's mansion, the oversized and luxurious room is filled with the sound of atrophy, and the young prince is doing something inappropriate with a beauty. A dark shadow quietly came to the prince's study, moved carefully to open the door lock, slipped in. Suddenly, several concealed weapons attacked in the study. The man in black couldn't dodge in time and was hit countless times by a concealed weapon. Exiting the study and wanting to leave, torches were instantly lit up in the courtyard, illuminating the entire courtyard. "I've been waiting for you for a long time, Seventh Imperial Brother." The Crown Prince, who was still enjoying himself in his room a moment ago, appeared fully dressed at the entrance of the study. It turned out that this was a trap. The news that the evidence of those framing loyal subjects was in the Crown Prince's study was false, a group of shameless villains. The man in black didn't say anything, reached out and took down the soft sword on his waist and fought with the people from the Crown Prince's residence. More and more people. Even if the man in black has high martial arts skills, how can he not beat four hands with two fists? Several times trying to escape failed to succeed. Capture him alive and bring him in front of Father. I'd like to see how Father will harbor him again this time. The man in black initially dealt with the people from the Crown Prince's residence with ease, but gradually felt that something was wrong, and suddenly realized that there was poison on that concealed weapon. Just when the situation is critical, the backyard of the Crown Prince's residence suddenly caught fire. The fire is quite fierce. The Crown Prince had to transfer some manpower to put out the fire. The man in black took advantage of the chaos to escape from the Crown Prince's residence. The body suffered several stab wounds is not fatal, just this strange feeling, even if they have not experienced, but also know that they are in what drug. The Crown Prince has always been ridiculous. This kind of medicine should be commonly used by him, but even used in a concealed weapon, really nasty. The Seventh Prince's residence is too far away from here. The more he uses his inner strength, the faster the drug works. He can only use his hand to cover the wound. Try not to use his inner strength, but also pick the dark alley where no one is walking. Ella is the Miss Jiangfu, but a poor child from a young age without a mother. Other family daughters are led by their own mother to see the lanterns. She did not want to go to bother her father. She secretly changed into a maid's clothes. From the backyard, dog hole drilled out, intending to go to see the lanterns. Just when the Seventh Prince thought he was going to be finished for the day, he met Ella, who had sneaked out in the dark alley. He was already close to disoriented. With his last bit of sanity, he could see that the other party was dressed as a maid, frightening Ella so much that she cried out in shock and had her acupoints pointed by him. "Don't be afraid. I will be responsible for you." After a moment of madness, the Seventh Prince himself was injured. This tossing and turning was close to deflating. Ella climbed to her feet and staggered away before his men appeared to take him back. "Find the man and settle him down." The Seventh Prince fainted when he finished speaking, and this fainting spell was 7 days. During these 7 days, the Crown Prince repeatedly came looking for trouble. His subordinates were only busy dealing with the Crown Prince and had long forgotten about the woman. Ella returned home in a state of confusion. The whole person is like a lost soul. The personal maid found something wrong, also did not dare to tell the master. She didn't serve the young lady well and let her run out alone. If the master knew about it, he would definitely spare himself. Now she prayed that no one would find out about it, and that the young lady would find a way to hide it herself. "Miss, you eat something. If you continue like this, your body will not be able to take it. By then this matter will not be able to be hidden. Arya will also die." It was only under the bitter pleas of maid Arya that Ella slowly came to life. Yeah, right. As long as the two of them don't tell anyone, they must live. Seventh Prince John woke up 7 days later. "Master, you finally woke up. Scared us to death. Where's the woman?" "Huh? I don't know. My subordinate was only concerned with taking care of Master these days and didn't go looking for it." Brian hurriedly explained. At that time the situation was urgent. He set fire to the Crown Prince's kitchen to help his master relieve the siege. It was not easy to shake off the tracking to find his master. Just in time to see his master fainted and brought it back. "Go find it, it's a maid. It shouldn't be too far from there." "Yes." John's people then began to line up the maids favored by the master in the nearby courtyards. "How is this going to be checked?" The master didn't say exactly what she looked like. "You can't go from one to the other and ask if you've been spoiled by a man, right?" Frightened wind whined. "Check which maids went out alone on the night of the Mid-Autumn Festival." "Boss is wise." "Don't be poor. Hurry up and work. This is the master's first woman, or a lifesaver, very likely to become the future female master." Sneak check for several days also did not find out. The woman happened. This kind of thing always have to be a little different performance. It is surprising that nothing was found. Surprisingly can't even find a woman. What's the use of master needing you guys? Master, don't get excited, my subordinates will go look again. Master, are you sure it's a maid? Brian expressed his suspicion that his master had misjudged. She is wearing the rough clothes of a maid. Could she still be a young lady? Hey, even a person as wise as the master has moments of confusion. Wearing a maid's clothes doesn't necessarily mean it's a maid. Then it's good to check. There are only a few young ladies in the neighborhood. Check again. John's men checked a few of the ladies in the neighborhood again, but they couldn't find any. Because Ella out of the matter who do not know, usually hide in the house does not come out. Those who are investigating cannot see the cracks. Met John when it is a night. Barely visible is wearing a maid's coarse cloth clothes, but also cannot distinguish which is the specification of the maid's clothes, so the investigation of a long time also did not find out the seventh master favored the woman. Ella thought that the matter of the loss of body can be hidden, which no 2 months of menstruation also did not come, accompanied by nausea and drowsiness symptoms, which makes her completely desperate. She chose to hang herself. Ella lay in bed for a day and finally accepted the fact that she had crossed over. She survived the instructor's devilish training and became a qualified police officer, and just when she was about to show off her skills, she inexplicably came to this great summer country which is not in history. The original owner and their same name and surname, only 17 years old, because of unmarried pregnancy cannot think of hanging dead, they're bad luck on the come, but also have to deal with the original owner of the mess left behind. Unmarried pregnancy, not to mention in the feudal ancient times, is open to the modern also be disdained. Naturally, I want to die. Looking at the crying maid in front of her, she had a headache. Don't cry, am I not dead? Miss, if it wasn't for the slave girl coming in and discovering it you would be. Oh! I hang no one else found it, right? No, the slave girl does not dare to make a sound. If the young lady does not wake up, the slave girl will follow. Holy shit, I almost caused 3 lives at once. Arya, always remember, girls can't go out alone at night. Instruct your daughters well. Yes, slave girl knows. Shouldn't Miss be worried about her current situation right now? Why is she still teaching him how to teach her daughters? Could it be that her brain is hanged and stupid? I remember that man said he would be responsible. So long ago there was no movement. Is it possible that he hung up? She remembers that day back when she was covered in blood. Is that the man was seriously injured, and then do that kind of thing. The blood circulation is rapid, blood loss and death is too likely. I went through the stomach with a baby, even a fatherless. There is no more bad luck than her in the world. The child's father can't be counted on, or their own good plan. She does not believe that by virtue of her 26 years of life experience in the previous life, in the ancient times still live. If that's the case, it would be too humiliating for a woman who has traveled through the world. In Ella's heart, the child's father is already in heaven. She is now planning how to raise the child alone without losing face to her father. Even if she is thick-skinned and can live normally, then her father still don't want to see people. Charles and her mother married 10 years before giving birth to Ella. The poor mother also died in childbirth. The ancient medical backwardness and will not cesarean section, encountered a difficult birth can only wait for death. The child is also lucky to be alive. There are many mothers and children who cannot live. Her father was afraid of marrying his daughter's stepfamily, so he never married, and he has been single for many years, giving all his love to Ella. The family heir is thin, not prosperous, but Charles's official luck did climb continuously. More than 10 years from the 4th grade imperial historian rose to a prime minister, but also became the emperor's beloved. Her old man is clean and honest, does not gang up, and does not have 3 relatives and 4 friends, is a stream of clean water in the country of Dacia. Ella did not give him shame, although no mother to teach, but the piano, chess, calligraphy, and painting are not bad. Every poetry, banquet, where the competition in terms of literary talent she can always win the first prize. Also caused a lot of jealousy, not willing to ask her to participate in the banquet together, because the light are snatched away by her. Even though she was withdrawn and unwilling to socialize with others, she was also famous for her talent and was one of the most talented women in the capital. She had always been disciplined, never doing anything out of the ordinary. The only time she sneaked out of the house in her life she was stood and had an extra ball in her stomach. Father has been too busy lately. Didn't come to accompany you. Won't be angry with father, right? No, daughter is fine. When it's New Year's Eve, Daddy will take a few more days off and accompany you for a few more days. He felt sorry for his daughter. He was busy with the court every day and couldn't see his daughter for many days. Daddy, you don't believe this yourself, do you? She had heard this many times, and not once did it come true. Daddy is really sorry for you. Daddy, don't say that. My daughter is used to being alone. Do not say okay. So said her old dad, even more guilty, eyes are red. Daddy, daughter really don't blame you. I'm just being honest. I'm really quite good alone. The result is more and more black. According to the situation, if I tell my father that I am pregnant, I guess he won't be able to accept it and will really blame himself to death. Forget it. Let's hide it for one day. Father, my daughter hasn't been out of the capital since she grew up. My daughter wants to go out and have a look. A girl going out. Daddy is not worried. Father, why don't I go to our own manor to have a look around? My daughter has grown up and wants to learn to manage the manor and come back later to take care of the store. Good, good. Gore has finally grown up. Charles started to get red in the eyes again. In the past, when she was asked to learn how to manage the house, she always pushed back. It seems that her daughter has really grown up. Ella thought it would take a bit of persuasion for her old dad to agree, but it turned out to be quite smooth. Her old dad agreed for her to go to the nearest manor to stay for a few days and then come back before the year. In fact, her father also has a selfish, recently the crown prince to choose a prince consort in the family women. He does not want to let his daughter involved, is not sure how to tell his daughter. Just now go and wait for the crown prince to choose a consort and then come back. On the third day, Ella took Arya in a carriage and quietly left the capital. Driving the car is to follow the old man for many years of the car driver Afu, loyal to the house of the Shang. Kung Fu is not hidden. Charles is relieved to give his daughter to him. When she was leaving, her father gave her a stack of silver bills, which she suspected was all of her father's property. Her father was a clean official and never took bribes or corruption, and his salary from the imperial court was barely enough to cover the expenses of everyone in the family. And this was despite the fact that the Prime Minister's residence had very few subordinates. The Prime Minister's office operates a few stores, is not very prosperous. Charles is not business material, used to be her mother in the management. The old lady did not have a business, has become bleak. The annual revenue is very small. Fortunately, the old lady also purchased a few pieces of land before she was born, so that the Prime Minister's office maintained the original spending. Andrew, have you been to this manor before? Back to Miss. Over the years, the old slave accompanied the old master to come a few times. This year I didn't come. The old master was too busy. What is father busy with? I can't see him for many days. How come the workload is still getting bigger as we get older? The old slave also occasionally heard the old master mention that the emperor's health is not good. Several sons are still not too amicable, always making him angry. Your lordship has to help maneuver through it. How is the crown prince's character? If the body is not good, just abdicate to give way. Why do you still want to hold on to power yourself? The more power, the more things to do, not tired and sick to be strange. The crown prince's mother's family is so powerful that it has exceeded the emperor's expectations. In that case, it's not yet known who this crown prince's seat will go to. Arya looked adoringly at her own young lady. It turned out that not only was she good at chess, calligraphy, and painting, she also knew about politics. The carriage walked for 2 whole days before arriving at the manor. To the time is already evening. This primitive means of transportation, if the car is only 1 or 2 hours of the matter. The people in the manor didn't know that the lady was coming. They didn't prepare anything. They had to find a clean room that night to deal with the night first, and then make plans for the next day. Andrew, I have something to say to you. Taking the time to eat dinner, the people in the manor were screened out, leaving only Andrew and Xiaolian. The reason why I want to come out is because I'm pregnant. I don't want to disgrace father in the capital, so I thought of coming to the manor to give birth to the baby and then go back. I hope Andrew can help hide it from father for as long as he can. Miss, is this true? Who is that man? You tell the old slave will seek justice for you. The dozens of years old man's eyes reddened. The golden and noble young lady was actually tainted by someone. He wanted to kill someone so badly. I don't know who that person is. If I wanted to know, I would have gone to look for him. When I secretly went to see the lanterns during the Mid-Autumn Festival, this happened. This is a painful lesson. I will never go out alone again. When we left the capital, it was November. Ella's old man was planning to let her go back to the capital to spend the new year. Ella wrote a letter requesting to spend it in the manor. The reason was that it was snowing. The road was not good and too cold. Wait for the day to warm up a bit and then go back. Andrew's letter also emphasized a number of reasons not to go back. Charles also agreed, told them to eat and drink well, do not aggravate themselves. Ella counted the days. If she can delay the next summer, she can go back alone to show up. The child's matter will be hidden. The main reason why fewer emperors live longer is that they are too hardworking, and the Daxia emperor is already old at the age of 50, not because he doesn't want to give up his power, but because once he hands over the throne to the crown prince, I'm afraid that the rest of his heirs will be in trouble. In the last 2 years, the crown prince has become more and more ridiculous, and he doesn't even put anyone in his eyes. acting as if he is the only one who respects himself. He once thought of abolishing him, but he didn't realize that it caused a stir in the court, and even a large portion of the people were against him and in favor of the crown prince. At this time he realized that the prince has been in the dynasty's power is deeply entrenched. Think back to the queen of the uncle of all kinds of performance. He regrets, should have found their ambitions. Now the tiger is overcrowded. Those loyal to his ministers are either relegated or imprisoned. As the emperor cannot do anything, can only look at these loyal ministers and good generals suffer injustice. Charles, prime minister on the surface to maintain neutrality, circling between several princes, tried to resolve the conflict between them, but little effect. The emperor also put their hopes on him, so that he was under great pressure. At this particularly tense moment, the crown prince even wants to choose a consort. This person is also too shameless. The family already has countless wives and concubines, but also want to choose a consort. But also arrogantly declared that the emperor chooses once every 3 years. He is only chosen once in so many years, and anyway, in the future inheritance of the great lineage will also have to be chosen, but just ahead of time. The courtiers who are loyal to the emperor are so scared that they hurriedly promise their own daughters to others. Not even Charles sent Ella away, just for fear of being chosen by the shameless prince. Prime Minister Charles, is Ella betrothed? Prince Stephen actually asked about this in the morning court hall. Back to your highness, not yet. I choose a consort. Why, there is no her name. With my knowledge, Miss Xia will be 18 after the year, is in line with the standard of choosing a consort. Back to your highness, the little daughter grew up without a mother, a person in the backyard to grow up, personality withdrawn, not quite understand the world, afraid of bumping into the nobleman, so the old minister did not give her enrollment. Prime Minister Charles is overstating the case. Ella has outstanding literary talent and looks like a flower. I've had my heart set on her for a long time and won't mind her nature. It seems Stephen is determined to take Ella, Charles sighed. Ai. Truth be told, your highness, my daughter is not in the mansion. She has gone to the manor outside the city. It has been many days. What's so difficult about this? Pick up and bring back as. The snowy road is not good to travel, will not come back before the year. Charles, prime minister, is not unable to see me? Stephen narrowed his dangerous eyes and looked straight at Charles. Is it possible that the eldest brother is trying to force himself on people? Andrew really couldn't stand to watch before speaking. How many girls from good families are willing to enter the crown prince's residence? Don't you have a number yourself? This is deliberately making things difficult for others, and Father Emperor doesn't care. The 7th Imperial brother's body as well. I also forgot to greet. I don't know which family's girl the 7th Imperial brother honored that day. What kind of medicine he let people put down. That drug effect he knows best. If there is no woman himself dead carry, he has long seen the king of hell. Even if he found a woman, also go to him half a life. Big brother, people in the sky. Bad things to do more than not afraid of the wrath of God? Angry Andrew gritted his teeth. Only he dared to go against the crown prince above the court. Last time he got into his way. Until now the energy has not yet recovered. The key is that the woman has not been found. This is also a pile of his heart disease. The two brothers insinuated in the hall, but Charles was taken out. He thought it was just over, but I don't know that the two brothers' stalemate finished. The crown prince also didn't forget to remind him to pick up Ella back. Charles almost vomited blood. In the end, it was the emperor who was so angry with the crown prince that he spat out blood before it ended. If the crown prince is allowed to go on like this, the great summer will be over. Charles goes home and writes a letter to tell Afu about this matter, asking him to pay attention to protecting the young lady. He is afraid that the crown prince's people will go to the manor to cause trouble. What? The crown prince named me? I don't know the crown prince well either. Ella was surprised to hear Andrew say, besides, the crown prince has a crown princess. Could he choose a side consort? Wanting her to be a junior, simply dreaming. The crown prince is exceptionally arrogant, does things as he pleases, has the empress and uncle of state behind him, and does all the ridiculous things. What has he done, Andrew, tell me? The original owner has been in the backyard, also does not inquire about outside matters. Now to pass the time, not even a little talk, bored to death. Back to Miss, the old slave heard that prince has countless women in his backyard, and every night he needs several people to serve him in bed together. This is the pleasure of the boudoir, are her own women. It is not a big problem. If the crown prince knew this, he would have to say, it's really the same way. Some of these women are sent by others, and some are married by force, and he had to take them when he fell in love with them. Forcibly robbing the people's women, this matter is not very proper. A prince and no shortage of beautiful women around, but also robbed, in vain stain their own reputation. The crown prince does not care about reputation. He feels that he is the future emperor. The things of the great summer country are his. No one can disobey him. Which confused person put this thought into his head, huh? Doesn't he know that this will stir up public anger? The reasoning that water can carry a boat and also overturn it, as the Crown Prince would not understand that. Miss, the Crown Prince is already incorrigible, so Miss should not go out in the future. The old slave will always follow Miss from now on, just in case. It can't be, Pops has refused. Can he continue to renege? Miss doesn't know. The more someone refuses, the more it can stir up his possessiveness. Have to be on guard. So, that's good. I'll write a letter. You send it to the prince. What is Miss going to do? We can't have any involvement with him. Don't worry. A person who is in the middle of a lost path, maybe it can be saved. If it really can't be saved, Andrew, you go to the Crown Prince's residence to kill him to get rid of the harm for the people. Miss a deep woman, how can you talk about killing someone as simple as eating and drinking water? Where did Ella get the confidence? Because he found out these days that this Andrew woke up early every day to practice kung fu, as if he was very powerful and quite mysterious for fear of being seen. A person with great skills was willing to be a carter for his old man, a person with a story. She also decided to worship him as a teacher to practice a great martial arts to sweep the ancient martial arts. A thought of this she dreamed and woke up laughing. But it was just a thought. She was pregnant now, and Andrew wouldn't teach her. A few days later, the Crown Prince received a letter from Ella. From His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. Your Highness, this is Ella. I heard from my father that you have been interested in me for a long time. But is it true? Ella was excited when she heard about it. Ella has heard a lot about His Royal Highness' behavior. He snatches up any girl he likes and is overbearing. If you don't like an official, you can send him to jail. I heard that His Royal Highness's boudoir is also different, and Ella would like to try it out. Ella also wants to be that domineering and capable person who can step on whoever she wants to step on and sleep with whoever she wants to sleep with. If she can get into the East Palace, she will be able to share the same heart with the prince, and she will be able to promote the prestige of the prince's house. Ella believes that she can definitely do it. I see a good number of ministers' daughters do not like the eye. If I can do the prince consort, the first thing I do is to sell them all into the greenhouse, let them every day to take customers, tired of their deaths. And those few old things that say bad things about the Crown Prince behind his back, I want to break them into pieces. The Crown Prince is too kind to send people to prison. They should be plagiarized and exterminated. Take the family's property for themselves. Kill all the men and sleep with all the women. So that no one in this world will ever dare to go against us again. Your Highness, do you agree with what Ella said? Ella is waiting for His Highness's reply. I'm so looking forward to it. The prince started to read the letter normally, but the more he read, the more his mouth twitched. Is this woman out of her mind? Who wants to be in harmony with her and sleep with whomever she wants? Is this what a woman says? What the hell is this picture? Is she drooling over herself? If this marries such a thing back, it would be strange if the great summer kingdom doesn't die. Nuts. Leave her to plague others. Ella didn't receive a reply from the Crown Prince for many days and knew that he was giving up. Miss, you are too good. Arya adores you too much. Miss said that the Crown Prince would give up on her when he received the letter. Miss really anticipates things like a god. Maybe the letter he didn't receive it. Miss, the letter prince definitely received it. Afu said. Hey, wanna add more fire to it? Miss, still writing. Idle too boring. Andrew, also do not teach me martial arts, just nothing to tease the prince. Miss, it's not that the old slave doesn't teach you. You're carrying a baby now. You can't do strenuous exercise. Then is it okay for John to teach me some basic skills of exhaling and practicing chi? This is fine. Arya, prepare the worship tea. She was waiting for the sentence from him. In her previous life, she liked sports, so she took the police academy, and in the piece of physical training, no one in the women would be able to compare to her. If she could learn this ancient internal martial arts heart method, together with her close combat kung fu from her previous life, if she encountered a person who wanted to molest her again, she would beat up his own mother and wouldn't even recognize him. No need. Miss wants to learn. Old slave teach you just. Andrew, after drinking my tea, you're my master. You can't keep your skills, master. Please drink the tea. Ella knelt down on one knee and raised the tea high. Miss, get up. You're a delicate body. Andrew, just hurry up and drink it. You don't have to kneel if you drink it, miss. The maid urged from the side. Fine, I'll drink. He hurriedly took the tea and drank it, helping Ella up. In fact, Ella didn't need her help. Her body was light. Don't look at her pregnancy, but she didn't delay exercising. This is also the reason why Andrew agreed to teach her. He found that Ella's body and bones were oddly good, a seedling for practicing martial arts. If he could pass his kung fu to her, it would be a beautiful thing. Only where no one is around we call ourselves master and disciple. In front of people, the old slave is still a carter. Okay, Ella agreed. It seems Andrew has a hidden agenda. As winter turns to spring, Ella's martial arts practice never stops, which makes Afu impressed with her. Originally a delicate lady from the backyard, she has such persistence and endurance. Moreover, because of her pregnancy, her progress in practicing was also affected. If she was light and sharp, she would be able to catch up with him in less than a few years. Ella in the manor lived a quiet and cozy. The manor are simple farmers. Ella usually amiable and grounded. Those people are very like her. Compared to her days, Charles in the capital is not so idle. In addition to fighting with the Crown Prince party in the morning court, he also has to deal with the relationship between the brothers of several princes. The son does not teach the father's fault. The emperor's own son did not teach well, how it seems to have become his responsibility. Prince, as expected, selected a consort, several ministers' daughters. There is a first concubine, meat and vegetables, more good, into the house began to favor. One is not down, also not afraid of exhaustion and death. He has not forgotten his good brother, because he received another letter from Ella. From His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. Ella hoped for the stars and the moon, hoped for the eyes, but did not expect His Highness's reply. Ella know His Highness has a hard time. I heard that His Highness and quite a few ministers of the daughter of the house. Hard work, His Highness. You must take care of your body, cannot be early exhaustion of the death of. In order to attract those ministers, the Crown Prince is really sacrificing his life to accompany women. If you let Ella enter the mansion, then let me be the villain. I'll get rid of them all, so that your Highness can get well. Don't worry, your Highness. Ella has already memorized the schemes of framing, killing with a sword, killing with 2 arrows, and stealing a beam to replace a pillar, so she will definitely get rid of them quietly. And will definitely not let their families get angry with you. Your Highness, think about it. Ella will wait for your news. I'll be waiting for you. The ridiculously disorganized Crown Prince was all thunderstruck and jolted by her. How in the world could there be such a thick-skinned woman? He thought he was thick-skinned enough. There really is a world outside of people. Couldn't let her harass him any longer, had to find a way for her to wreak havoc on someone else. John, yes, that's him. Ha 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 ha. The Crown Prince feels that he is too wise, letting that superb go to scourge Old Seven to save Old Seven from having the energy to find his own trouble. On the second morning court, the Crown Prince acted like a brotherly friend and raised the matter of choosing a consort for the 7th prince with the emperor. Father, 7th brother isn't too young. There isn't even a woman in the mansion. It's time to choose a royal consort for 7th brother. Father, my son doesn't need one. The woman from that night hadn't been found yet, and this matter had become his heart problem. 7th brother should stop excusing himself. Haven't you already experienced the joys of fish and water? A different woman would be just as good. He knew John was looking for a woman, no doubt surely the woman who helped him with his needs that day. I heard that he hadn't found one yet. Big brother, aren't you minding too much? Royal brother is doing this for your own good. Prime Minister Charles, your daughter hates marriage. I think 7th brother is nice and worthy of Ella. What does the Prime Minister think? Huh? Charles, who was named, froze. How did this even involve him? His daughter had left the capital for several months, and he thought the Crown Prince had forgotten about it. If it was to marry the 7th prince, it could be considered. John, I think Ella is also good. This matter can be considered. Don't, father, my son already has a sweetheart. I can't condescend to Ella. When these words came out, the ministers all strained their ears to listen. Who is the 7th prince's sweetheart? Ah, never heard of it. 7th brother, don't worry. Ella won't mind. I have so many women she doesn't mind. It's settled. Father, give the decree to bestow the marriage. On weekdays the emperor especially hated the Crown Prince's boisterous appearance. Today he felt that he was too right, and without the consent of the parties involved, he gave the decree. Seal the 7th prince as King John, give King John's house, hold the power of 100,000 soldiers, and give him and Ella a marriage. When the spring flowers bloom, Ella will come back and get married. The prince wanted to let Ella, a strange woman, to discuss John, but the emperor took the opportunity to give him the military power, leaving him dumbfounded and unable to speak. All the ministers congratulated the 7th prince together. John didn't feel happy at all. There is no cure for heart disease. Finished, overplayed my hand. Ella understood what was going on as soon as she saw the letter from Pops. This is the prince thought she was disgusting and pushed her to his opponent. Ah, how can this still play? Ah, can't be cheap. Smacks him of being disgusting, doesn't it? There are more disgusting. It wasn't long before the Crown Prince received another letter from Ella. Your Highness. You're too sad for Ella. His Highness won't marry just that, but even pushed people to your nemesis, that incomprehensible guy. I guess he won't even use a woman when she lies beside him. Ella, heartbroken, no place to go, ghosts crying and wailing all night, finally figured out the good intentions of His Highness, is not trying to let people go to the 7th Prince's house as an undercover. Undercover thing I am the most good at doing, Your Highness rest assured, by Ella, guaranteed to John's underpants are what color can feel clearly, he is how to poop, shit how to eat, rice are all get a clear. Your Highness, isn't Ella a good girl? Ella waits for good news from Your Highness. Never give up. Oh yeah. Stephen can no longer describe his mood at this time, handed the letter to the subordinate to take to burn, and told him that in the future, Ella sent a letter directly burned without having to give him. He has already generated a heart fear of this woman. Even if you want to go undercover, you won't use such a bitch. He turned back to the mirror, saw the face in the mirror, suddenly thought of Ella's letter-painted expression. This is not the painting of him? Alarmed, this terrible woman, a few letters can disturb his mind, in the future to be as far away as possible to avoid. Ella in the manner can think of the prince that eat shit expression, the more I think of the more funny, dare to count auntie, have you good to suffer. I can't go back to the capital for a while, so I'll let him go first. Inside the 7th king's mansion, John is like bewitched. When he closes his eyes, the scene of that night appears, as if he sees that poor tender woman crying to him, and often wakes up in his dreams. Your Majesty, you should rest. Subordinate Brian urged. The king has been sitting for half an hour, motionless like a statue. How did he give a marriage and still be given a fool? Still haven't found anyone? No. Keep looking, check well, see if there are any left behind. Yes, it's been searched several times. How else can we find them? John was thinking, the emperor has decreed that he can't not marry. If he marries Ella, what should be arranged in case he finds the woman again? It's a headache. There is also the wrongful case done by the crown prince a while ago, which has not yet been settled. Not only is father worried, he is also worried. John rubbed his brow, so tired. Sleep, tomorrow then think. The days of not worrying about food and drink went by so fast, without realizing it. Ella is about to give birth. Charles has urged them to return to the capital several times. When the emperor gave them the gift of marriage, he said that they should get married in the spring. Ella didn't go back, and John didn't urge her to do so, but he hoped that Ella wouldn't come back at all. Charles is anxious. His daughter is 18. The 7th prince of this aunt he is very satisfied. Every few days to write a letter to urge if not on the court cannot get away. He personally went to pick up. Ella gave birth to a big fat son on the 8th day of May. The production is very smooth. The time is very short to give birth, and she practiced every day is inseparable. The people on the manor do not know what happened to this lady, why she had a baby here. They all came to congratulate her. Ella had long ago found a good nurse, if not for time not permitting. She wanted to breastfeed herself. In the future, when she left, the child would have to rely on the nursemaid to take care of her. Also from the manor to find a fastidious little girl to help, Ella sat through the month on the reluctant to return to the capital. On the day she returned to the capital, she met the crown prince on the street. She wanted to buy some food and bring it back to the house to accompany her father for a good meal, when she saw that the crown prince had just walked to the entrance of the restaurant, and she hurriedly followed him. Your Highness, I'm back. The crown prince looked at her and froze for a while before reacting to who she was, and then remembered those letters she wrote. Why did you come back? He had forgotten that there was such a person. Came back to fulfill His Highness the Crown Prince's mission. Ella whispered. Don't you talk nonsense, I didn't. Suddenly feeling a bit loud, she lowered her voice again and said, I didn't give you any mission. Don't talk nonsense. Originally, he and the 7th imperial brother were on pins and needles. She also added fuel to the fire. I won't say it is. Your Highness come to eat? What do you want again? I want to bring some food back for father. I haven't been back for half a year. I can't go back empty-handed, but I don't have any money. Then put it on my account. Prince wanted to get rid of this oddball in a hurry, break the bank. Ella hooked her lips, just waiting for his words. After playing 5 portions of each of the signature dishes in the Gathering of Immortals restaurant, the 3 of them joined together before carrying the dishes to the car. Miss, can you finish it if you want so much? It would be bad to eat it tomorrow on this hot day. 30 people should be able to finish it. 30 people to eat? Miss wants to treat you. Yes, I'm treating the entire household to a big meal today. It wasn't that she was generous, it was mainly because she didn't have to pay for this dish. The prince's attendant was shocked when he went to settle the bill. Why was there so much money? Upon asking, he realized that Ella had hit dozens of people for the meal. Forget it, I'm not bad with the silver. Stephen suffocated and swallowed this dumb loss. There was a lot of laughter in the Prime Minister's mansion, and Charles happily drank 2 more cups. Grr, you're not young anymore. It's time to marry. Well, my daughter listens to her father. Fine, as long as you are willing. The emperor had given the marriage. Was it good for her not to be willing? She's back. Would the seventh prince not know? He didn't show his face when his fiancée came back. Isn't that too ignorant? Just when I thought of this, someone came to report that the seventh prince had come. As soon as the seventh prince appeared, all the people dispersed, leaving Charles and Ella in the hall. In the past, Ella had never taken a good look at the seventh prince, but when she took a closer look today, she was so impressed by his looks that she, who was not a nymphomaniac, became obsessed with him. With the world's most beautiful language cannot express his beauty, strangers such as Jade, the son of the world, is unparalleled to say that this appearance, right? Oh, the seventh prince is really good looking. The first words of the two meeting. Grr, greet the seventh prince. Charles reminds her how to be a nymphomaniac when they meet. It's too humiliating. How are you, seventh prince? You're the best looking person I've ever seen. And talking endlessly. John was expressionless and waved his hand for Charles to get up. This king has come to find Ella with something to say. Yes, go ahead. Can we talk alone? Yes, the king is coming with me. Charles watched these two go out of the hall, a little confused. What does this seventh prince want? Speak up, your highness, there's no one here. Ella looked straight at the other with both eyes. Ahem. John let her stare a little awkwardly. He had never been this close to a girl before, except for that night. Why was she on his mind again? There's something the king has to tell Ella. Still staring straight at him without saying anything. This king already has someone in his heart, so it will aggravate Ella. No aggravation, as long as I can see you every day, I don't even need to eat. Ella showed her philandering to the fullest. You don't mind? In John's heart, he thought that a girl should be sad when she encounters this kind of thing. Oops, who doesn't have a little secret? I have one too, huh? You have a sweetheart too? John asked hastily, surprisingly a little anxious to hear that Ella also had a sweetheart. Well, there is one. A big fat son. Isn't that the most important person in her heart? In that case, you and I are the same. We don't owe each other. If this king's sweetheart appears in the future, will you accept it? You have said that you and I are both the same. As long as you can accept it, I can accept it. No, you're a woman. How can you compare to this king? He can have concubines. A woman can't have two men. What's wrong with a woman? You're allowed to hide someone in your heart, and I can't have one. You can hide it in your heart, but you can't stay by your side. Fine, then your sweetheart can't stay around either. The matter of the son is resolutely not to be compromised, even if the marriage is withdrawn. Good, if there's that day, this king will place another. Ella looked at him and felt that the beauty has been reduced. When she first saw him, she was an untainted fairy, and after half a day of arguing she turned into a vulgar and unpleasant mortal. Originally, the two people's marriage has been delayed long enough. Ella is now back. There is no reason to delay any longer. By the Chintian supervisor checked the recent good days, the two families exchanged the gung sticker and began to prepare for the big wedding matters. Pops, do not need to prepare so much. All gave me what you eat, ah? The old man is difficult to what kind of, but still shopping up endless. Grr, this dowry represents a woman's face. Dad is tightening his belt, also want to give his daughter a decent. What about the bride price? Why didn't John send a bride price? The bride price will be sent only on the first day of marriage. What kind of rule is this? Shouldn't he send me something nice to use first? Let Pops do as he pleases. The big deal is that she'll take over when Pops can't make ends meet. It's better to go back to her courtyard and practice. I've been slacking off the last few days. Kung Fu is to be practiced properly, and only with strength can you protect your son. On the 8th day of the 7th month, the 7th prince's wedding, marrying the prime minister's only daughter, is considered a match made in heaven, and everyone thinks it's a perfect match between a talented man and a beautiful woman. But in fact, even if you and I are husband and wife in name, you can't leave this cave tonight. Not lifting the cover for her, not drinking the cup of wine is just as well. Also not sleeping here. What will people think in the bright world? This king is afraid that you are inconvenient. I'm not inconvenient. You sleep on the floor, sleep over there. Stay away from me. I have more problems, farting and grinding my teeth and snoring. You take it easy. John has been petrified. Sure enough, there are a lot of problems. The next day into the palace tea, the couple walked hand in hand, a look of love. What are you nervous about? Never held a girl's hand. Ah. This man's palms are sweaty. As for? No. Then, what have you done with your sweetheart? You don't even hold hands with your lover? Ancient people were also too subtle and civilized. Just favored once. Oh, I take back what I just thought. Holy shit, so it's not subtle, it's straight to the point. What idea? Thought you were pure. Turns out it was handled by someone else. He's been handled? Shouldn't he be the one handling someone else? The two came to the Empress's cunning palace. The Emperor was also here. The palace maid brought tea and Ella served it with both hands. Please father, mother and queen drink tea. Congratulations, bring the red packet. His Majesty. Empress. It's okay if you didn't prepare, you can make it up later. What kind of daughter-in-law did John marry, and how did Prime Minister Charles teach his daughter? They all prepared red envelopes and didn't need to make up for it later. It was just a bit awkward to take the initiative to ask for it. Empress Dowager drank the tea that Ella honored, chatted for a while, and let them leave the palace without even leaving them for a meal. Your mother is really stingy, cannot stay us to eat a meal. This king is not born of her. What about your mother? She passed away many years ago. Oh, also a poor child. The corner of John's mouth twitched. This woman was not very old. How could she still speak like an elder? In fact, in Ella's eyes, John is a little brother, 22 years old, the age of not graduating from college. This ancient people precocious, the man 20 to start a family, the woman 18 are married and have children, if they are in the modern world is still in high school, now it's good, but also raised a son. She swore that if that man is lucky not to die, she must beat him all over the place to find teeth. Next to John inexplicably hit a jolt, this hot day how all over the body cold? At the same time, the prince received a letter from the 7th king's residence. He opened it and was furious. Didn't I ask you to bring Ella's letter again? Your Highness, this is from the 7th prince's residence. They were afraid of delaying the crown prince's big event. They didn't dare to hide it all. Stephen endured his nausea and finished reading the letter. Dear Crown Prince, Ella has married into the 7th prince's mansion as you wished. After careful observation last night, John wore red panties, didn't poop all night, drank a bowl of rice porridge this morning with red beans in the porridge, ate 5 chopsticks of tofu, 3 chopsticks of eggs, and drank a cup of tea after breakfast. That's all. We're going to the palace to honor the tea. Pay your respects. Someone, from now on, all the letters sent by the 7 kings' mansions will be burned directly. No matter what you do, you have to be loose and loose. Ella took this very well. After writing a letter to the crown prince once, she stopped writing. After all, her sister-in-law has correspondence with her eldest uncle. It's not a good thing to spread the word. In the blink of an eye, it was the Mid-Autumn Festival. The emperor hosted a banquet in the imperial garden for his ministers, and Ella finally met the legendary power-tossing uncle of state, a dry little old man. Not a blessed man based on his looks alone. A pair of shrewd small eyes, originally not big bar when looking at people, also deliberately squinted, an inscrutable look. Ella gave her assessment after sizing him up for 10 seconds, pretender. The old minister has met the 7th prince, the 7th princess. The little old man arched his hand at Ella and John. State uncle is excused. John had a high and serious expression. This child is also quite capable of pretending, Ella slandered in her heart, obviously acting like a petty victim at home on weekdays, and froze in front of people to make himself look like a curmudgeonly old man. The banquet is invited to the 3rd grade or above of the officers and their families, to the banquet one after another to arrive. Prince Stephen only appeared. Ella found that the prince seems to intentionally avoid her, also dare not, and her eyes, she heart smile open flowers. It seems that their own really to the prince caused psychological shadow. The crown prince didn't care about her, so she took the initiative to greet the crown prince. Good day, big imperial brother. The crown prince was bringing 4 women to the palace banquet today, all daughters of important ministers in the dynasty, obviously to do it for the Yu family. Good day, 7th younger sibling. The crown prince greeted and wanted to leave. How could Ella let him have his way? Eldest royal brother is so blessed with lust. All of the royal sisters-in-law are so beautiful. Hello, sister-in-law. Several women could only stop to greet her as well. The crown princess' face was very unsightly. The crown prince's absurdity could not be controlled by himself, so he could only sulk. Ella pulled the crown princess's hand unusually enthusiastically. Eldest imperial sister-in-law, look at your dark circles under your eyes. Did you not have a good night's sleep? It must be that the big royal brother has made you angry. Ella here has the 36 strategies for teaching your husband. Do you want it? Ella, what are you babbling about? The crown prince wanted to stop her from continuing her nonsense. He had learned her strange language. Don't let her bring his daughter-in-law down again as well. Eldest royal brother, this is where you're wrong. So many women in your own family aren't enough for you to manage? Your brother married just one and you want to control that too. Who wants to manage you? I don't care, 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 sister-in-law. Let's go on, I'm telling you, you can't spoil a man too much. It's easy to spoil him, and if you spoil him, he'll be all over the place, hooking up with other people. Ella, who are you talking about? The crown prince was anxious. This was clearly talking about him. Big imperial brother, why are you so loud? It's all because big imperial sister-in-law spoiled you. Look at my John, he wouldn't speak to me so loudly. John, who was called John, got goosebumps. No one had ever dared to speak to the crown prince like this before. This woman had too much guts. Not only John, everyone didn't even dare to breathe a sigh of relief. They were all sweating for Ella, daring to pull out the hair on the tiger's back. Is this Ella brainless? Charles rushed over to round up the scene. Your Highness, calm your anger. It's all because the old minister taught his daughter Pearlie. He bumped into your Highness. Your Highness is generous. Don't bother with her in general. How did I impinge on him? Great imperial sister-in-law. Say a fair word, am I right? Ella grabbed the crown prince without waiting for him to speak. The crown princess stood there in difficulty. Admitting that she was right would be admitting that the crown prince had hooked up. If she didn't agree with her, there was still a bit too much. How can I say that the seventh prince consort was towards herself? Look, big imperial sister-in-law, this is scared by you into what kind of, you this man when too shameless. To say that the crown prince is shameless to his face, she, Ella, is the first person in the world. Ella, are you looking for death? The crown prince was already on the verge of rage. I have good intentions. I want to turn my eldest brother into a model husband. Since I don't appreciate it, then forget it. John, let's go, humph. And also gave the crown prince a look of contempt. If you ask who is the most draggy in this great summer dynasty, everyone will definitely say it's the crown prince, and after today, the most draggy one will be the seventh crown princess Ella. The maternal family of the crown princess looked at each other in dismay. Although they didn't say anything, there was already a lump in their hearts. The crown prince's anger had no place to be angry, kicked over a stool, walked to his seat and sat down, picked up a cup of tea and drank a cup of tea before calming the anger in his heart. The crowd did not dare to laugh and joke loudly. All sit back in their own seats to be silent. Palace people sang, His Majesty arrives, the Empress arrives. All kneeling to greet, with the bright yellow emperor's voice of flat, everyone thanked the grace to rise. This 10,000 evil feudal rights, Ella muttered under her breath. John thought she was delicate, kneeling uncomfortable, and quickly reached out to pull her up. The emperor saw the interaction between the two people secretly happy. This kid has been refusing to choose a consort, directly granting a marriage to force him to marry. It looks like quite good at hurting people. After the emperor came, the dinner party began. The palace maids shuttled between the seats pouring wine and dishes. The ministers blessed the emperor began to push the cups and drink and mingle. Just now the prince and Ella's little episode immediately let people forget in the back of the mind. Drums and music sounded, a group of dancers thinly clothed with light small steps in the seats dancing. Whose idea is this, so moody? Shouldn't the dancers be performing on the high stage, weaving around the guests? Is this showing off or seducing? And that dancer's winks are clearly teasing. John lowered his head to drink tea and did not say anything. Hey, look, the dance is quite good. Look at that, chest is really big, waist is also so thin. That chest is their own growth? Ella poked him, making him look up. What are you staring at the teacup for? There is a beautiful woman in the teacup. Ella also poked her head up to look at his teacup in a serious manner. No, there's just tea. Can't stupid people see that? John hooked his lips. This woman is really interesting. Why haven't I heard of her before? It seems not bad if you live with her. Ella finished looking at the cup of tea and turned her head directly to look at him, right into John's gentle light smile. Don't smile so seductively if you're so good looking. With those words, she reached out and pinched his face. It directly framed John. Not only is he good-looking, his skin is also very elastic and feels good in his hands, so he should touch it more often in the future. Originally, the prince angry raged she was in a good mood, and now pinched the face of the little beautiful man. The mood is super happy, eating a delicious meal, watching the moving dance, to be more cozy. If you can bring your son around, it will be even happier. Have to find a chance to go through the little beautiful man's consent to be able to do so. This seems to be a bit difficult. Suddenly the mood is not beautiful. Aren't you afraid he'll do something to you if you offend your royal brother that much? John asked with concern on the way back to the house. A man of quality won't easily make a move on a woman. How come he didn't think the royal brother had quality? Besides, if he wants to hit me, can you still not care? So this is emboldened. In fact, what Ella thought in her heart was, if the crown prince dared to make a move, she would knock him down and make him lose face and face. John's kung fu wasn't practiced for nothing, coupled with her modern close combat techniques. It would be a piece of cake to clean up a crown prince with mediocre martial arts. John, in the next few days I'm going to the manor to check the harvest. I'll be staying for a while before I come back. You stay home alone and eat well. I'll come back and bring you a gift. Ella always spoke gently to John like she was treating a small child, always giving him a shy expression. So cute. Couldn't help but reach out and pat his face again. John's heart fluttered. He seems to like her. After a few days, Ella and the maid Arya went out of the capital to go to the manor. John wanted to let people follow the protection of them, was Ella refused. back to the Prime Minister's office to find John together. Ella has not seen her son for 2 months, left just a month, and now still will roll over. See her also smiled at her. At once the person was adorable, picked up his son and spun around several times, scared the little guy's eyes are straight. Son, turning in a circle scares you? You're too timid, was I born? The little guy grinned back at her again. Mother and son haven't seen each other for a long time. At night Ella sleeps by herself with her son in her arms. The little guy doesn't recognize life at all. He eats his fill and plays with his feet for a while, and then goes to sleep. The days with her son go by so fast, practicing kung fu every day, teasing her son, and feeling that this is what life is all about. In the manor stayed for a month before returning to the capital. During the period John also let Charles wrote to urge twice. John, I'm back. Did you miss me? Ella shouted as soon as she entered and saw John. The underlings all turned their heads to work. What took you so long? It hasn't been long. It's only been a month. It's normal for modern people to travel for a month. It's good that you came back tired. A royal consort went out of the capital for a month and didn't come back, and that's all. Doesn't she miss him? Tired, sitting in the carriage for 2 days. This is for you, don't mind. A wooden hairpin with a John character carved on it. It should be made by her hand. You made it? Yeah, I'll put it on you. John lowered his head and let Ella put the hairpin on herself. It's hard to give up your natural beauty. John looks good with any hairpin. Thanks. You're welcome. Reaching out again, she pinched his face. The couple was a loving and cozy picture. The prince's mansion's garden. The subordinate stood outside the corridor hesitantly, not daring to enter. What are you doing standing there for half a day? Stephen spotted him. Back to your highness, the 7th crown princess sent someone to deliver something. The crown prince only said to burn the letter. He didn't say to throw the things away as well. Sending me something, she would be so kind. When the person opened the things, the crown prince turned pale then. The box was full of objects for children to play with. There were strings, rattles, and some flowery knickknacks. The crown prince knocked the box over with a wave of his hand. This is in the naked humiliation, who all know that he prince has countless women, just no one to give birth to his heir. This is also his heart disease. No one dares to mention. This Ella, this abominable Ella. And you will not be able to stand on the 2 sides of the fence. The crown prince angry walking around the courtyard, and cannot go directly to the 7th king's residence to find trouble. This woman is too despicable. Inside the 7th king's mansion and the crown prince's mansion were the opposite, a warm and peaceful place. Come, John, eat some of this. Mama, I personally cooked it. Father always praised me for making it delicious. Isn't it delicious? Eat some more meatballs. Look at how thin you've gotten. Is it because you miss me that you can't eat well? Self-indulgent woman. John's heart, although so, on the surface does not show, but it seems as if it seems to be quite like this feeling of being loved and cared for. Boat ride, you early rest. After eating, John was ready to go to the study as usual. People want John to accompany them. The expectant eyes made him unable to refuse. He actually wanted to. Stay if you want to, don't force it. Oh. Ella also winked at him wryly. Not forced, this king is willing. He no longer forced himself to pretend to be civilized. His own explicitly married daughter-in-law, sharing the same bed, is natural. Bent down and picked her up, walking towards the carved large bed in the inner room. No longer considerate? Consider what? Not wanting to keep your body for your sweetheart? John stopped what he was doing and took her in his arms to lie beside her. You mind? A little. Sorry. All the same. What did all the same mean? He'd never been able to figure it out. Ella had fallen asleep in his arms when he asked. It was the first time they'd shared a bed since they'd been married. He'd figure it out in the coming days.